All right. Let's look over here at the sideboard. Algebra 1B on Trooper Tide Tuesday, the 25th of August. The funniest day of the month, 25. Okay. SWBA. Students will be able to solve equations with multiplication and division. So we're going to be at 0.5 today. We were at 0.4 last time, right? Okay. Dave, you have a phone over there? He's like, yes, I was. And then you stopped me. Okay. So we're going to solve these equations with multiplication. Okay. So we're going to solve the equation, check the solution. So S divided by 12 equals 3. S divided by 12 equals 3. Okay. I thought you leave it. Do you dismiss the 12, 15 though, or do you leave it 12?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think you dismiss the 12, 15. Yeah, 2 15. Yeah.
I don't want to go back and start until 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah. Ooh. So S is being what by 12? What operation is happening between S and 12? Division. How do we undo division? Multiplication. So it's being divided by 12. What are we going to multiply by? 12. Or a 12 over 1 if that makes it easier for you. A lot of people like to put that 12 over 1. So we have a fraction with a fraction, okay? What can we do with this 12 and this 12? Cross them out. We can simplify it. Because does 12 go into 12? Once. Does 12 go into 12? Once. Then we have to multiply this side by 12 as well. Now you can do 12 or 12 over 1. They're the same number, aren't they? So does it matter whether you call it 12 or 12 over 1? No. Have you guys ever heard the phrase 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other? Okay. So how much is half a dozen? 6. So if I have 6 in one hand and I have half a dozen in the other hand, how much do I have in each hand? 6. I have the same thing in each hand, right? So that's just what the expression means. Is 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. They're the same. It doesn't matter. Okay. 12 and 12 over 1. They're the same. It doesn't matter. So now over here, 1 times S is S. 1 times 1 is 1. So S over 1. Do we need to write S over 1? No, it just becomes S. Okay? That's just the math behind it. What is 3 times 12? 36. So S is equal to 36. That would be our answer, okay? And then we would go through and double check it 1 second before we go through and clarify some stuff, okay? So to double check it, we can plug in 36 for S. 36 divided by 12 equals 3. Remember I do the inflection there. Okay? Equals, okay? What is 36 divided by 12? It is 3. And 3 equals 3. Boom, it checks out. Okay, Abe, you said you were confused.
Yeah, and I realized it was division as opposed to fraction.
Well, fractions are division.
Well, right, but I thought it was like, I thought it was different.
Yeah, so fractions and divisions are really the same thing. A fraction is a division problem we're too lazy to do. That's the one thing I heard a math teacher say one time, and I'm like, that's pretty accurate. Like -1/3 over here, that's the division problem. We're just saying we don't want to actually do that because it's just 0.3 repeating, and this is actually nicer and neater than that. We're going to be too lazy to actually go through and say this is 0.3 over and over and over and over and over again. On number 2, 1.8 equals 2 divided by 2. 1.8 equals 2 divided by 2. Or w divided by 2. What is happening with our variable w? Being divided by 2. How do we get rid of the division? Multiply by 2. Or 2 over 1, right? Okay? So 2 times 1.8 decimals, okay? Well, think about it this way. What would 2 times 18 be? 36. But now you have to put the decimal back in. 3.6. Decimal's not that scary. What happens over here with our W, our 2's and everything? Yeah, they simplify. I'm going to be mean. I don't like the word cancel, okay? In math, things don't just cancel and go poof. Okay? There's some math behind it. They both reduce to 1. Cancel means they go away. They don't go away. It goes to 1, which you don't see. Okay? It goes to 1, which you don't see. Okay? I'm going to be mean about that. divided by 2. You might not know 3.6 divided by 2. Do we know 36 divided by 2? What is it? 18. You gotta put the decimal back in. Does 1.8 equal 1.8? Does. Check. It checked out. Questions on that one? Okay. I want you guys to try number 3 on your own. N over 3 equals negative 2 over 5. Okay? When you have it or have questions, raise your hand, and Mrs. Hadwin will come around. Good luck today. Well, may the course be with you. Yep. And if you want to leave it as an improper fraction or a mixed number, either is okay.
You lost your sign. Oh, you got it.
So would I multiply 3 by
You got 1. It is by 3 over 1. Is that what you're asking? See, so we only need
Did
for
you
this.
No.
Oh, yeah. No.
What?
Okay. Since this is division, you
Yeah.
want to get this out of the denominator, so get it out of the denominator, and multiply this by 3. And this divided by 3 over 1.
Okay.
So now multiply straight across.
Alright, let's talk about this one up here. So n is being what right now? What's happening to it? Divided by 3. How do we undo that? Multiply by 3, the same thing. Or 3 over 1 if you prefer. Multiply this by 3 over 1 as well, or 3. So this 3 and this 3 reduce, and it just becomes n. Now, negative 2 over 5 times 3 over 1. We don't need common denominators, we just multiply straight across. Negative 2 times 3 is
6.
6, but a negative, right? We have a this is a negative fraction because the negative times the positive will be a negative. What's 5 times 1?
5.
Negative 6 over 5. That can be our answer. If you want, you can make that a mixed number. What is that as a mixed number, Abby?
negative 1 and 1/5.
Negative 1 and 1/5 as a mixed number, okay? Questions on that? Alrighty. If this will be handy for our next examples. If there's a fraction in front of the variable, multiply by the reciprocal to isolate the variable. What does isolate mean?
Get by itself.
Get by itself. Okay. So if there's a fraction in front of the variable, like 3/5 k, we're going to want to multiply by the reciprocal to isolate it. Okay. So code pick color.
Dark blue.
Sounds good. So we're going to solve this equation. 3/5 times k equals 6. 3/5 k equals 6. So there's a fraction in front of it, isn't there? So what's it tell us to do? Multiply by the reciprocal. What's the reciprocal of 3/5? Go, Tucker?
5 over 3.
5 over 3. I was struggling with the name for a moment there. So we're going to multiply by 5 over 3. And we're going to do it to both sides. Now what happens with this 5 and this 5 on the left side? They reduce or simplify. They become 1. Okay. What happens with this 3 and this 3?
They don't cancel.
They don't
They turn
cancel.
into 1.
They go to 1. They reduce to 1. They simplify to 1. They divide out. So we're just left with 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, so 1 times k. So just k. It's like you send someone a long message. Okay. Now it might be helpful for us to think of the 6 as what? 6 over 1. Can we reduce anything before we go on and multiply? Sure you could. Okay. Does something go on to both 6 and 3? Yeah, 3 does. Okay, how many times does 3 go to 6? 2. How many times does 3 go to 3? 1. So now you have 2 times 5 is 10 over 1 times 1, so just 10. Now if you didn't reduce that you would get 6 times 5 is 30 over 3. What is 30 divided by 3 though? 10. You get the same thing either way. Okay, you get the same thing either way. And we can go through and check our solution here as well. Okay, we can check our solution here. Okay, 3 over 5, 3/5 times 10 equals 6. Also 10 over 1. Before we get our numbers big and then have to simplify down, we can simplify it early. We can simplify before we multiply. There's something going about 10 and 5. Anything going about 10 and 5?
Yeah.
What? 5. How many times is 5 going to 5? Once. How many times is 5 going to 10? 2. 3 times 2 is? 1 times 1 is 1, so it's 4 over 1. Does 6 equal 6? Bada bing, bada boom. Checks out. Okay, questions on that one? Lady. Okay? All you guys try number 2. Negative 1/4 is equal to 2/3 b. Once again, when you have it or have questions, raise your hand.
Look at my paper, Mr. Boyle. Okay, I got it. This one I did it.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
There you go. This is the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
That's what we show our work to, like on the test. If you did that, you're gonna get like almost everything right.
Yeah.
Okay? So something I find with those masks is if like you kind of pull the top a little bit more than the bottom, sometimes it helps with this.
yeah, it's wrong now.
Have you tried pinching the nose piece around your nose more?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
I think you did it right. You're wrong. They want help? Yeah. Hold on.
Oh, there you go. Let's talk about this one up here. So we're going to multiply by what on this side? Not 2/3, but 3 over 2, the reciprocal. Because what's going to happen with the reciprocal when it multiplies? The 2 is going to simplify, the 3 is going to simplify, and we're just going to be left with b, which is exactly what we want. We're going to multiply this one by 3 over 2, the same thing. Now we can't reduce anything early because nothing goes into both 3 and 4. Okay? So we have 3 times a 1, so that'd be 3. 2 times 4 is 8. But what can't we forget? Negative. That's the positive times the negative there. Negative 3/8 is our answer. Okay? Once again, you go through and check it. Okay? You go through and check it and say negative 1/4 equals 2/3 times 3, negative 3 over 8. Well, we can simplify the 3 and 3 to 1 and negative 1. We can simplify the 2 and 8 to 1 and 4, because 2 goes into both of those. So negative 1/4 is equal to 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. 1 times 4 is 4. It's equal to itself. Yep, that checks out. Questions on that one? Now, before I send you just to number 3, what might we have to do on number 3 first? turn this mixed number into an improper fraction. After you turn this mixed number, negative 1 3/8, into an improper fraction, you can do the same exact thing you did on 1 and 2. Okay, so just make sure you turn it into an improper fraction first. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and try number 3. Let's see, when you have it or have questions, raise your hand.
Did you check?
Good luck today, ladies. Good try though, because then you can save yourself time later. Very good.
Yeah, man. You get first.
Yeah.
And do you need to check, buddy? Do you need to be checked?
Very good, very good.
Oh.
Alright, so let's talk about number 3 together here, okay? Negative 1 3/8 k. Well, 1 times 8 is 8, plus 3 is 11. So this is really the same thing as, let me change colors here. Emily, what color do you want? So this is really negative 11 over 8, okay, is equal to 2/3.
You have rating on it too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we're going to multiply by the reciprocal, which is going to be negative 8 over 11. It still needs to be negative. So this negative 8 and this 8 will simplify. Negative 1 and positive 1. 11 and negative 11 will simplify to negative 1 and positive 1. What's a negative 1 times a negative 1? Positive. So we're just left with k. Equals 2 over 3 times negative 8 over 11. Can't simplify anything there, unfortunately. So 2 times negative 8 is negative 16. And what's 3 times 11? 33. Negative 16 over 33, and we can't simplify anymore. Okay? And now I'm not going to have us check this one right now just for time's sake, okay? But we know how to, don't we? Questions on that one? Okay, so let's go ahead and flip the page here. Now we're going to practice with division. So we solved multiplication. Now we're going to do division, okay? And why don't you pick a color for me?
Blue.
Which one?
Light blue.
Okay. Solve each equation, check your solution. 11W equals 143. What's happening with 11 and W right now? Multiplying. Why are they next to each other? How do you undo multiplication? Division. We're going to divide by something. What are we going to divide by? 11, whatever's there, because 11 divided by 11 is
11.
nope. 11 divided by 11 is nope. 1. Any number divided by something is 1. No, it's 1 times W. W.
I think it was,
Dylan Dowell?
Yes,
It sounded like Dylan Dowell. I didn't see him at all.
that is wrong.
I know his voice enough at this point. I had him last year. He talks enough, so I know it. So we'll need to do 143 divided by 11. Does anyone know all that off the top of their head? Me neither, okay? Does 11 go into 1? Does it go into 14? How many times? Once. 1 times 11 is 11. 3, 33. Hey, does 11 go into 33?
Yeah.
3 times exactly, right? That helps us out. So how many times does 11 go into 143? So W is equal to 13. And you go back and check it by multiplying 11 times 13 and saying that equals 143. Once again, we might not know off the top of our head, so let's try it out. Okay, 11 times 13. What's 3 times 1? What's 3 times 1 again? Okay. Add a 0 for our placeholder. What's 1 times 1? What's 1 times 1? Add them together. 3 plus 0 is 3. 3 plus 1 is? And 1 is 1. 143. So does 143 equal 143?
Yep.
And it checks out nice and easy there, okay? Question on that first one. Alright, well, you guys try number 2. Negative 8x times equals 26. Negative 8x equals 96. When you have it or have questions, raise your hand. Very good, thank you. Sorry, I find it.
What?
Get the answer right.
No.
No.
11 divided by 11, buddy?
I know it's 1.
There you go.
Not that.
Yeah, you were walking by and you're like, who was that? And I was like, I don't know, but it sounded like, you're like, no, I'm like, yeah, it sounded like Dylan Dowell. I didn't even see him, but I know his voice enough because he talked to us last year.
Why?
That is sweet.
oh, cause you
Alright,
did
have
your
fun.
Yeah, you too, buddy.
subtraction and you just pulled it down.
I see.
It's bad. I just got Bloody Brandy. It's bad when I can understand the way you're thinking.
Yeah.
Brandy,
Randy.
miniature brandy. I do that so I don't have to feel old. You. I like your mask, Tucker.
I can't see it.
You know, the one thing that I found that I have a horrible bad habit of doing,
What's that?
now that I have the mask, I lick my finger when I'm doing my paper.
I know!
My goodness.
I
I'm gonna have to get that tacky finger stuff so we can rub our finger on.
I was raging the other day in class because I was at the store and I was telling them about it. I was like getting one of those produce bags. You know, like you go open your apples or something like that. And I was like trying to open one of those produce bags. And I'm like, I can't lick my fingers. How am I supposed to open the dang produce bag? And so I'm sitting there like for like a minute, like just like rubbing them together. I feel like I'm playing the world's smallest violin between my fingers trying to open this bag. And it's struggle busted. Oh man.
Isn't that bad that we lick our fingers though?
I don't know. I mean, maybe.
I guess it's gonna be your apples but I do it with the kids' paper.
Oh, I do it with papers all the time.
Yeah.
Constantly. Sounds like perfect.
Builds immunity.
Builds immunity.
Yeah, I'm just working for helping them out.
It does.
Helping them out. All right.
Now we're all gonna be sick when we're done with these, going licking our
Yeah.
fingers and doing our papers.
Yeah. Lainey, have I had you pick a color today? Okay, you want to pick one? Okay. Negative 8x equals 96. What's happening with negative 8 and x? Multiply it. Aiden, how do we do multiplication? Division, what are we going to divide by? What kind of 8? Negative, whatever's there.
Good job.
Because negative 8 divided by negative 8 is 1, so we're left with 1 times x, aka x. 96 divided by negative 8. Okay, so we know a positive divided by negative will be a negative. And if we need to, we can do this 96 divided by 8 off to the side. Does 8 go into 9? How many times? Once. 1 times 8 is 8. Subtract 1, 6. 8 goes into 16? Twice. And it is 16. So x is negative 12. And we can go back and check our work and say 8 times negative 12 equals 96. Well, we can go through and prove 8 times negative 12. You can really just think of it as knowing it's going to be a negative. I mean, negative 8 times negative 12. Knowing it's going to be a negative there. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 1 is 8 plus 1 is 9. So it's negative 96, which is actually positive 96 because the 8 times a negative. I misspoke again. Equals 96, and it does check out. Question on that one. Okay, on this last one, negative 0.42 equals negative 3 over s. Decimals, ooh, are we going to be scared of decimals?
No.
Yeah, we're not going to be scared of decimals. Now, we'll show those big bad decimals what's up, okay? So, Reagan, you want to pick a color?
Green.
Green, alrighty. So, what is happening with our variable s right now? We are doing what? Multiplying. How are we going to do that? Divide by negative 3. So, what's negative 3 divided by negative 3? 1. So, what is it with s? What's a negative divided by negative going to be? Positive. So, we know our answer is going to be positive, okay?
Checking to make sure you
Does
got
anyone know what 0.42 divided by 3 is off the top of their head? Maybe not, okay? So if I have the 3 outside here, okay? Then I have 0.42 inside. What do I do with this decimal? Does anyone know?
Move it up.
Okay, we just move it up. Okay? If I had a decimal over here, I'd have to move it and move this decimal too, but I just move it up. Does 3 go into 4?
Yep.
How many times? Once. What's 3 times 1?
3.
3. What's 4 minus 3?
1.
And drop the 2. Does 3 go into 12? How many times? 4. And it is 12. So our answer is 0.14 or 0.14. If I asked you, hey, how many times does 3 go into 42, would you guys know it's 14 or no? Okay. If you would, you can do the same kind of principle we did with the multiplying earlier and say, oh, 3 goes into 42 14 times, 0.14 instead. If not, that's okay. We can go back and check our work, but I'm not going to make us on this one. But we totally could, right? We can do negative 3 times 0.14 again. We can multiply decimals. We learned it really isn't that bad. You just have to move the decimal back at the end. Questions on these? All right, last problem for the notes. Write an equation for the problem below, then solve the equation. Negative 14 times the number equals 224. Negative 14 times the number equals 224. I want everyone to try writing the equation on their paper. I want everyone to try to write the equation on their paper and then a whole, okay? Once you have the equation written, raise your hand. Once you have this equation written, raise your hand, okay? There you go. Now you can go ahead and solve. What you got?
Okay, now I understand this.
Good, good.
Real quick, I didn't understand for the longest time, but now I'm just trying to realize.
Do you guys think this is starting out easier than what we did last year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Lot.
Well,
A
both
lot.
lines
Go
there.
ahead and start solving. Huh? Go ahead and start solving it.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead and start solving it.
You guys just seem like you're not like that. Not what?
Yeah. I think part of it's because we're more awake too. For me,
What do we have it last year?
we had it like
More
morning
areas.
after band. Yeah, I know.
baseball in the spring. Yeah, heard his JV game was good though.
JV, I wasn't there, I don't come until 6 o'clock.
Oh, okay,
I
that's
gotta
right.
work at the jewelry store,
Yeah.
but yeah, I heard Chris got a home run, and
Yeah,
every game I've gone to so far, there's been at least one.
yeah,
Isn't that crazy?
that is crazy. That was a grand slam too.
I think, yeah, Chris.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Grand slam tied it up pretty cool. Yeah, yeah, I can't come now, but because of the new guidelines.
Yeah.
So. All right, so.
No, so what, how am I gonna watch football?
Yeah.
From the parking lot, I guess. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
No, they're working on mainstreaming it, so we could possibly mainstream it at, DJ's.
Oh, yeah? That's a good idea.
Yeah, we're working on that, Mr. Ballman.
Nice. Negative 14 times the number equals 224. Okay, what's our equation for this one, Maddie?
14 times 14x divided by or equal to 2.
Okay, one slight adjustment that I think you did on your paper, but it's
Oh,
negative 14, right? Do we have to use x? No, Lainey, what did you use?
A.
Did you still do okay?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, didn't affect it. Okay. So now how do we solve this?
Divide.
Divide, right? Because it's multiplying by negative 14. Negative 14 divided by itself is 1, so we're left with x. 224 divided by negative 14, we can do this off to the side somewhere. We know a positive divided by a negative will be a. We know a positive divided by a negative will be a negative. Does 14 go into 2? You go into 22. Yes, how many times?
Once.
Once. 1 times 14 is 14. What's 22 minus 14? 8. Drop the 4. Is 14 going to 84? Well, we might not know how many times. Well, hey, remember that guess and check method I taught you? A little hint. You guys remember that? Okay. Take the second digit, 4, and we're trying to get it to be the 4 if it works out nicely. So 4 times what will end in a 4? Okay, 6. Okay, so we can try that. Let's try 6. Okay, so 14 times 6. 6 times 4 is 24. Haha. 6 times 1 is 6 plus 2 is. Hey, that worked. Did anybody use that as they were trying to solve this? Did it help you? Good, yeah. Okay, so our answer is negative 16. Okay? Can we go back and check our answer if you wanted to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, do you have to?
No.
No.
No, but if you have extra time, sometimes it's worth it, okay? Alrighty, well, we do have a worksheet over this as well, okay? So a big meeting has to give that homework.
Did it all my favorite color?